Welcome to Radiolab. Welcome to Luton.
Thank you.
A lot of people, the last time they saw you was way back now when you left the X Factor.
Yeah.
And you've been sort of quiet since then. Fill people in, what have you been up to since then?
What have I been up to? Writing music, making music. I decided to make an album. I funded it through pledgemusic.com, so it meant it was like all the fans kind of joined in and got involved and pre-ordered the album and stuff, so it gave me the means to make it, which was awesome. And then after that, I did like a little tour around the country. People actually turned up, so.
And you got to write the album with some really cool people as well.
Yeah, man, some of the chorus were amazing, but I think one in particular was definitely Newton Faulkner, because I was a fan of his.
Was that a hero moment?
Yeah, it was stranger on tour, because he came to London and got on stage, and it was just so strange going, ladies and gentlemen, Newton Faulkner. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, it was a very surreal moment, but even weirder when I was writing with him, because that's like totally hanging out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm getting to hang out with a musical hero. That's normal.
Because I imagine one thing, it's like, oh my god, you're right there.
Yeah.
And then you've actually got to work with them and create something.
It was weirder because I was like pulling up in my car and I was like, okay, this will be fine. I'll just knock the door and go in and everything will be okay. But no, he was standing outside, so I was like, no, I have to properly like introduce myself straight off the bat. So it was very weird, but definitely worth it considering the first single was wonderful, which we wrote. So
what was the process for writing it? Would you sort of come in with something and he would come in with something? Would you pre-plan it all?
I normally just I have a book I always carry. It's like an old leather-bound book thing that I write like lots of ideas in, like little poems, and it's almost like just a poetic journal kind of. So I would take it with me to songwriting sessions and kind of go, I really want to take this poem today and write about it. But because most of it's quite dark, and I wanted to write a happy song because he's really good at that, I took one of the darker poems and just turned it into a positive. Because
I pledged was I got it as well, so I've heard the album.
Yeah.
Is Hide and Seek staying as Hide and Seek when it eventually comes out, or are you going to keep changing it? Because Wonderful is different to the album version.
Yeah, Wonderful's different. I think there's a potential for a couple of little changes, but I don't think anything overly drastic. So thank you for pledging.
No problem. Owe me £17. Like, were there any themes that you wanted to have on the album? Was there anything you definitely wanted to do? Any inspirations towards it?
Because some of the songs are quite old. Like some of the ideas for these songs are really old, and I wanted to just get my life in song, so I wanted to try and make them as autobiographical as possible, and I think I succeeded in that. I think there's a couple of really honest songs on there, especially about breakups and getting older and things like that. There's a lot of honesty in it. So
cool. So you've done a track for us.
Yes,
a live track.
I have.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Oh gosh, this song is quite funny. It's called Delicate, but it's actually quite bitterly sarcastic because I'm not delicate. It's just kind of the fact that the guy I was with was kind of, let's say, didn't have the biggest of hearts. So it's kind of not a breakup song, but in a relationship song. So
cool. So this is Delicate, performed by Janet Devlin, live here in Radiolab. So that was Delicate here on Radiolab. I'm here with Janet Devlin. Hello, Janet.
Hi.
We're sort of talking about all the stuff she's been up to over the last couple of years since she's left X Factor and gone and done her own thing as your own original artist. Is there a challenge trying to say, look at me, I'm original, I'm not what the X Factor tried to make me into?
It's very tough because there's a level of stigma attached to going on the show, which is, you're on the show, it's just a singing competition, obviously, but I wanted to portray that I also write and I do it. I write songs, so it's sometimes quite hard to explain that to people that you're not just a singer, that you are a songwriter as well. So it was difficult, but it's a challenge, but it's fine. But there's like plus sides to it, I suppose, with like the elevated profile that it gives you into the industry, and I wouldn't have been able to work with the people that I did if I didn't go on it. So it's a nice little balance there. Because
you were in it just long enough to get a platform so everyone can see you, but not so long enough people assume something from I expect something from you, so it did allow you to be a bit more original. Yeah,
it was kind of tough though. Whenever I was trying whenever I released it to the pledgers, like the album, it was kind of tough because they'd never heard your music before, so you were giving them an album that they had their own like ideas of what it might have sounded like or what it was going to be like, and it was a lot of pressure, but I think they liked it anyway, so it's good.
Was the reaction all positive?
Yeah, mostly positive, yeah, so it was good.
What about musical influences? Because the album's, it is a sort of pop album, but it's also sort of genreless. Was there any sort of...
Yeah, it is a bit genreless.
Was there any influences on that at all?
I struggle with that because the music I listen to is completely different from the music I actually write and play and things. So
what do you listen to?
What do I listen to? Oh gosh. I like Nirvana. I like Foo Fighters.
So very different from Wonderful.
Very different from Wonderful, yeah. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, you can listen. I listen to a lot of stuff. It doesn't mean that that's how my music's going to sound. Do you know what I mean?
So you're writing anything now? Is anything in the pipeline?
I am actually. Today I'm going off to write some music as well. I've been writing, and I don't stop writing. Which I think is a good thing. So I've just got lots of songwrites coming up, and yeah, it's good fun.
Is there another album, another EP?
I hope so. I'm not going to give too much away, but I'm just dying to make a second album because I wrote most of the songs when I was 17 or younger. So now it's like, but I'm 19 now. I want to write an album about this, what I'm doing now, and it's a weird thing to be. But
you should definitely come down to Luton sometime and do a show next time you tour.
Yeah, totally.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of Devlinators here.
Do
they still call themselves Devlinators?
I don't know. I've started to call them unicorns now because they've started being more honest about how weird they are, and I like weird people, so I like that they're kind of unicorns. So I mean, I didn't come up with Devlinators. I don't even know who did, but
it just sort of pops up. I wonder who comes up with these names.
Yeah, I
can't imagine having a group of fans saying you will call yourself this.
Yeah. You're now, I christen you the Devlinators. No, it's not how it works. It's just they start calling themselves something and then
just stick with it.
You just go with it, yeah.
Unless you want to call them unicorns.
Yeah, unless you want to do that.
Well, thanks for coming down. It's been great chatting with you.
Thanks for having me.